Hello, Mike. How are you? Good morning. Thank you for joining us.
No problem. Good morning. How are you?
I'm good, not too bad. Thank you. I'm excited to have a chat about what you do in your firm, straight line legal, a little bit of background about what you've been doing before and what uh, made you doing what you're doing now, and then carry on with the talking about challenges, opportunities, a little bit of AI technology. So carry on.
Yes. So obviously we've had a bit of a chat earlier, but for anyone listening, my name's Mark Maclean. I run a solo law firm, which is Straight Line Legal. I set that up in 2023 after being in private practice in kind of big corporate firms for many years. I started working in law in about 2010. So I've been doing it for quite a long time, quite old now. And yeah, I mean the decision to move into doing it myself is a lot of factors came together at the same time. But one of the biggest drivers for me, and it was sort of pushing me for a while before I eventually jumped, but the biggest drivers was I just there's a very particular type of person and process that you get when you work in a big corporate firm. And
Mm.
um I don't know what the listeners know about law firms. I assume, based on what you've told me, quite a lot. Probably other lawyers, but
Yeah.
uh, you know, anyone might share my view of billing targets and hourly rates and hours targets. And then you've obviously got all the internal bureaucracy and politics, and everything has to be polished. You're not your personality is squashed and you put into a big corporate box. You can't really be yourself. Long hours. It's a very stressful life. All of that kind of stuff that comes with being in a big corporate firm. I'd sort of had enough,
Mm.
and I wanted to set up Straight Line Legal to do things. One, to do things my own way, um,
Mhm.
follow processes which work for me, which means trying to strip out hourly rates and do as much fixed fee work as I can. Um,
Mhm.
and two, because at that point I just wanted to be, I wanted to work with clients on a closer level than I was doing, working in big firms. They're great firms, by the way. I have nothing against them. The two big firms I work for were BLM, which is now Clyde and Co and Kennedy's, and they were great, really good firms. Top 50 UK law firms.
Mhm.
Um,
Wow.
but you don't necessarily get to work closely with clients and see how their businesses grow. We were working with a lot of big corporates, a lot of
Mm.
insurers, and it feels a little bit impersonal. And you don't get to see those small businesses grow and kind of flourish with you there by their side. So part of the move was also to try and work with a smaller clients and businesses that really need my support.
Mhm. Brilliant. That's a very good insight. So, what do you perceive to be your biggest challenge, starting your own small law firm, and in what ways small law firms compete with larger ones when it comes to responsiveness and values?
So I think in terms of the biggest challenge or challenges, I think I've probably got a few main points in my mind about what I particularly faced when I set up. I think that there's a bit of perception issue with small firms in that
Mm.
people see a smaller firm and they think maybe not as good. I think particularly they think cheaper as well. So
Mhm.
clients coming to you, they say, "Oh, he's a small firm. He can bash this out for a few hundred quid." Um,
Mm.
and that's something I've kind of struggled with and had to push back on with clients. Essentially, smaller doesn't mean bargain basement law. Um, it can still You can still get a great premium product from a small or even a solo firm like mine. And I think so. The key is maybe been fighting that the problem has been fighting that perception for me a
Mhm.
little bit. I'm in a good position in a way because I've come from big firms and I've got a big
Mhm.
firm or big law background and I was trained at a big
Mhm.
firm, so I've kind of got that built into me.
Mhm.
So my sort of, my secret sauce, I guess, is to take all that knowledge and all that, the big firm understanding and kind of make it more. human and approachable for people.
Mm.
So you're kind of getting the best of both worlds is how I would put it to clients.
Yes.
Um,
Yes, absolutely.
and
How many
another issue.
people? Yeah.
Sorry, go on.
Oh,
Yep.
sorry. No, no, go ahead. I didn't want to interrupt you.
No, I was just gonna say one of the other biggest issues I find as a solo is obviously capacity and time to help clients. Sometimes you will get a situation where everything comes at once. It's happened to me in August and September. We're in October now. I don't know when this is going to go out, but um,
Mm.
and it sort of killed me off a little bit, August, to be honest with you, because I was supposed to be having
Mm.
a holiday. My daughter was off, and we were up in the lakes, and all the work came in at the same time. And when you've
Mm.
run your own business, it's quite different. You learn to say no to things that you really can't do, but sometimes you think this is too good to pass up. So
Yes.
you take on a lot, and I was never unable to deliver, but I had to put a lot of work in to keep on top of that. So I think when you're a
Mm.
solo, particularly, that is an issue, and that's a big challenge. When you're in a big law firm, work comes in and you can say, can I get some support here from, maybe one of the
Yes.
the paralegals supporting your team, or you can even say, look, I'm going to pass this to my colleague to do it. And
Mm.
when it's just you you don't have that option. So I think what I
Mm.
found is having a good network of people that can either come in and step in and support me, or I can pass it
Mm.
over to someone else. And likewise, they can do that with me. And I think that's been invaluable building that.
Mm.
Um,
Yes.
so those are two big issues that I've faced personally. Um,
Mm. Good insight. No, no, definitely. Uh, so you don't have any employees at the moment or
um,
colleagues?
at the moment, no, I don't have any direct employees. Everything I do is
Mm.
a solo consultant. The
Okay.
difficulty for me was that I wanted to sell straight line legal as me, right? So the one of the
Mm.
selling points was that when you instruct straight line legal, you get me on the end of the phone, or whenever you need anything. You're not going to get someone else turning up halfway through your case doing things that you thought I was going to do, right?
Mm.
And I've struggled with that aspect because when you're selling just yourself,
Mm.
it's hard then to bring other people onto the brand. So I think in a year or so, I'm looking to try and maybe bring some people in, probably as consultants more than
Mm.
rather than employees, and start repositioning the brand slightly to say, you know, you're not
Mm.
necessarily going to get me all the time, but if
Mm.
there's ever a problem, I'm here. I'm the face of the brand. The book stops
Mm.
with me, all that kind of stuff. So
Mm.
that is a little bit of a challenge for me now, is trying to work out how to keep on brand
Mm.
and bring other people in.
Mm. Okay. Could you imagine a scenario like this? Imagine the technology. Actually, the technology is there. Can you imagine you have a twin of yourself because you're one person, but you can have your twin on the website, and clients, before they interact with you, if you are very busy, they can have a chat with your twin, and your
Mhm,
twin would you train it so that it answers several questions without giving legal advice. At the same time, it
mhm,
can direct clients to a point that, okay, this is how we do it. These are the fees. This
mhm.
is how long it's gonna take. This sort of thing. Can you automate those sort of thing? And if they are happy, then they can make appointment with real Mark in a way. Do you
Mm.
think it aligns with your concept? It's still you. I mean, it's still coming to you, and you are dealing with the work, and your twin is actually still you, the way that you want it to be. And I think the technology is there. And because you mentioned that sometimes the work can be overwhelming, do you think that sort of thing, like AI employee sort of solution, would work for you?
Yeah, so you broke up a little bit partway through that from my end, but I got the gist of what you were saying. I think obviously correct me if I'm going off on a tangent,
Mm.
but you were sort of suggesting, could could I on the website have an AI sort of chatbot which is based and trained on by me to respond to initial client queries, um and does that fit in the brand? It's a good question. I don't. The answer to that is possibly. I use a lot of technology anyway at the moment to try and support clients and to try and make everything easier for both of us. The chatbot is something that I've seen other lawyers use and quite effectively, actually. Um, there is a risk of it feeling impersonal to a client, I think, and them going on and saying, I want to just, can I just pick up the phone to Mark, I don't want to spend hours talking. It's the same as when, you call, you want to call a business that's a supplier or just any business, you're, I think what's worse for this is if you're calling someone like, HMRC or, uh, or an organization like that, and you have to, before you even speak to anyone, you spend 15 minutes, going through options. Is it what option one, then option two, then you're trying to, please say what you're here to talk about. And it's like, I'm here to talk about tax, and it's like, did you say, chicken pies? And you're like, for God's sake, um, and I think there's a worry that you're making clients jump through hoops before they're
Yes.
even able to speak to a human, and that would make me nervous. And the other risk, obviously, is if the chatbot goes rogue and then says something wild to a client or
Yeah.
gives them some misinformation or gives them some instead of saying this will be 2 grand, they say 200 quid, and then the client comes in with different expectations. And so
Yes.
those are my initial thoughts. But in principle, I think if you can integrate it in a way that still slots within your, personal brand and make it have your voice
Mm-mm.
sound like you, and also have an ability for it to say, okay, look, if you just want to speak to Mark, here's what you can do, but I'm
Yes.
here to try and
Yeah.
help you. Um,
Yes.
then I think it could
Or I
work.
can pass on the information to Mark and you have a call back. Actually, this morning I had a similar situation with Ryanair. We have a flight that on the way back it's indirect and we try to change it. So you go on the website, it doesn't give you the airports that you want, Vienna. But when I check, that flight is available. I can book it separately from my own flight, but when I try
Mhm.
to change it, it doesn't give me that option. So I
Yeah.
desperately wanted to talk to customer service. I called them. They asked me, okay, what is it about? Okay, I was honest that I want to change my flight. They said, okay, go
Mhm.
on the website, do this and that, bye.
Yeah.
Then I had to
Yeah.
call back
Yeah.
and I said, they asked me, what is it about? I said, it's about something I want to discuss with an agent. And
Hmm.
then asked me, what is it you want to discuss with the agent? I said, something to do with changing the flight. Again, it passed me on and goodbye. Again, I called back. I was having fun at the same time. I said, it's an emergency, something urgent I want to discuss.
Yeah.
Then I think AI realized that it's still me and it says you called a couple of times and if it is about changing your flight, go there. So basically, it blocked me. I couldn't talk to anyone
Mm.
in the end. So, so you
Yeah.
don't want
It's
that sort of thing. But the technology is there to do it in a way that is more personal. And I think a lot of law firms are going there. And I believe the client's expectations are changing towards a bit of technology. Of course, you don't want to frustrate them. At the same time, you want to give them a chance when you are busy, somebody trying to reach you. You don't want to let someone down. That right now somebody's trying to call me. I'm in the middle of
Mhm.
this recording. So obviously people would not be happy. They don't know that I'm in a meeting. They feel like, why is he not answering me or responding? So if you have an automation, which is technology,
Mhm.
imagine if immediately that client gets a text message or respond that I'm in the middle of a meeting,
Mhm.
I'll call you back. That sort of thing makes a big difference, doesn't it? So I think a bit of
Yeah.
automation in that sense even can help small law firms like yours.
I agree, absolutely. That Ryanair story is just typical, I think, of where things are going now. People just want to speak to a human a lot of the time, but I think if you
Yes.
can have a system that allows that and supports that,
Yes.
but gives the
Yes.
client an option to say, look, Mark's busy, or before you speak to Mark, why don't you just get a feel for what we do? or how much it
Yes.
might cost, and then at least you know that it's something you're able to take forward, you know.
Yes, yes, absolutely. So now we touch upon AI tools and
Mhm.
systems and chatbots. Which one of them are you using and what are your experience?
So the main tools that I'm probably using at the moment to support me and to support clients would probably be the following. So I have a kind of case management system which has digital onboarding. So instead of having to send hard copy letters for them to sign, print off, sign, scan, send back, I have a system which sends electronic scope, work scope or quote to the client. It has my terms and
Hmm.
conditions all built in. They can then digitally sign the terms and conditions, and then send them back to me, and I can countersign them. And then there's details on how to pay me. So it's all really smooth. And I think that helped a lot for,
Mm.
for clients particularly, because everyone, I don't think everyone's got access to a printer. And I know a lot of law firms, even still now, are relying on paper files and paper systems. And so they
Mm.
will, print off a retainer letter, post it to the client, or sometimes email it and say, "Can you print this off, please, and sign it and return it to
Yes.
me?" And as soon as I see something like that, my stomach goes, "Oh God, I've got to set up the printer and I've got to print it
Yes.
out and find a pen and I've got to find a way to scan it all back in." And it's just a pain. So for me,
Yes.
that's a real essential core part of my operation.
Outdated. Oh,
Um, the other thing I use
nice.
is Fathom. So I have an account with Fathom, which is an AI note taker, and it is
Mm.
incredibly useful for client meetings or discussions. So what I can do is basically, you set to a meeting like this, you add the note taker using a link. The note taker pops in as a guest to the call, and then it will transcribe everything that is said with who said it,
Mm.
and with timestamps. Fathom's good. Fathom's good because it also has a video link as well. So it has timestamps so you can go and see what people were saying as well.
Mm.
And I find that to be invaluable because in the old days, and again, I'm sounding old
Mm.
here, but in the old days, when we jump on a meeting with a client, sometimes what you'd end up doing is, there'd be you, and then maybe be like a junior lawyer or a paralegal. Or when I
Mm.
started, I was a junior
Yes.
lawyer or paralegal, and you'd just be frantically taking notes. So first of all, the client's paying for two people to join a meeting, and then they're paying for someone to go away afterwards and then type up those notes into a particular format. And
Yes.
obviously, as we got, as technology developed and we did video calls, people could bring laptops, but still, it's that extra
Mm.
step. And now I can focus on listening to the client properly, making sure
Yes.
I engage and not have to worry about making notes. I still do make notes
Mm.
because it's habit. The
Mm.
client will say something important, I'll go, right, we just make a note to make sure we don't
Mm.
forget that in case the note taker might not pick it up. But
Mm.
for the most part, it's,
Yes.
95% reliable in capturing the key stuff. And I found that to be a great tool.
Mm.
And then for scheduling, I've got a system now with integrated with Calendly, so people can go on when they want to pick a session with me. They'll book a consultation. There's details for how they pay, and then they can just jump on a Teams call like this, and it's all saves again about 3 steps of going. When are you available? Oh, when are you available? Okay, well okay. Well, let me check my calendar and then come back,
Exactly.
and then you've got to send a separate link. So that's been again a huge time saver for me. And I've got other little bits and
Mm.
bobs. I also use, I know a lot of clients use WhatsApp to get in touch with me, and I'm okay with that. I like being able to be responsive with clients when we need to. Some clients love
Mm.
voice notes, and I'm trying to develop a software. It's not going quickly, but I'm trying to develop a software where that we can get something integrated with WhatsApp that allows us to have a track of who said what with the transcripts, and clients can basically use that as an ongoing sort of soundboard for any legal issues.
Mm.
Just quick voice note. What do you think of this? Does it sound like a load of rubbish? And then I can come back and say, sounds okay, blah, blah, blah. And then it'll pull that into a separate file and save it as an archive set of
Mm.
documents. So we've got a record. That's proving harder than I thought it would be, working with a couple of guys to try and sort that. But I'm always looking
No,
for
with
new.
make with make.com you can do it. Make.com has a lot of automation templates. At the
Mhm,
same time, you can tailor it yourself. N8N and Make.com, I've seen a lot of WhatsApp integration. Maybe what you are trying to do
mhm.
is already one of their templates. So basically, you copy a template and add things together, do the backend, connect your WhatsApp to this and that, and it can work. So what else, Mark? These are
Okay.
impressive.
No, that's really good. I'll have a look at that because I've been trying to work with well, I've got a few proposals from software developers to actually make it, from scratch.
Mm,
And it's obviously not particularly cheap. So I'm trying to work
mm,
out what is the best way to operate this and whether it's even going to be, that good for clients as to invest in it. So, but yeah, I will
mm.
definitely check that out. That sounds really interesting.
No, check it. I'm confident that they already have the most of it, maybe 90% is there in one of their templates. They have hundreds of templates. You go to make.com and see what templates they have and pick one of them, and maybe you just need to tweak it a little bit and then get someone on Upwork or Fiverr that
Mhm,
I have this make.com automation. Can you add this and that? And it's very easily done.
mhm.
So yeah, these platforms are very powerful.
Yep,
Uh,
and AI as well is something I use to support my work, but it's a bit of a double-edged sword for AI
mm,
because you've got
yeah,
obviously the scaremongering. This is going to take your job in 5 years. Um, so for me, I am trying to get ahead of the curve as much as I can because I think AI might not take lawyers' jobs, but I think lawyers that use AI well will
yes,
get ahead of those that are not embracing it at all. And
yeah,
so I work with ChatGPT and Claude. Those are the two that I've found to be the most helpful, but they have limitations. So a couple of limitations from a lawyer's perspective are obviously confidentiality and data. Obviously,
mm,
we've all seen the issues with OpenAI, getting a court order saying that basically they have to retain everyone's data and it could be disclosed in court, and
mm,
I think that made us all a bit nervous. So, um, when I'm feeding things into it, I'm very conscious of what I'm feeding in. And then the
mm,
other limitation is I just think it is rubbish at giving proper legal advice and doing proper legal
mm,
research. It is not there yet, and I don't rely on it at all for that. I've got a proper have you heard of Practical Law or Westlaw? They are like
mm,
industry standard
yeah,
systems for lawyers. So I've actually got a subscription to that, and that is where I will do any research that needs to be done,
mm,
check against industry standard templates, look at clause banks, all of those kind of things, because it's
mm,
official. It's everyone knows Practical Law. It's part of Thomson Reuters. It's a big company. So I just won't take
yeah.
chances in getting AI to do any of that.